Coming up in today's Locked On Angels, I want to talk about Michael Lorenzen. A new article came out in The Athletic, and it's pretty interesting. Let's talk about that right now on Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Locked On Angels, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day every single day. I'm your host, Steve Granado. You can shoot me a follow over on Twitter at Steve Granado, Granado. As I just mentioned there, we are going to talk about this new Athletic article about Michael Lorenzen. Sam Blum of The Athletic got to talk to Michael and talk about all that kind of went into the decision to come to Anaheim. It's pretty interesting. I wanted to talk about it and kind of break it down a little bit further. That's going to be here in our first part. In our second and third parts here today, yes, it's a slightly slower news day, but there was I was recently on the Locked On MLB podcast with Paul Francis Sullivan, and I wanted to play some of those clips. We got to talk a little bit about the lockout. We got to talk about the Angels, my thoughts on the AL West. So it's a pretty cool conversation. I'm going to include that here today, and then, of course, I'm going to link the entire conversation. We're not going to play the whole thing here, but I'm going to link the entire conversation, so you can definitely go check that out in the episode description. Okay, let's go ahead and jump to what I alluded to, the Michael Lorenzen article. This came out in The Athletic. It's called "I Never Take the Safe Route. Michael Lorenzen discusses his decision to join the Angels, become a starter again." Excuse me. But so this was, again, written by Sam Blum, who's a great writer. And if you do not have an Athletic subscription, I highly encourage it. It's one of my favorite publications, and I actually use it for a multitude of things. They're not paying me to say that. I read about the NHL and I read about the NBA on there too. It's a great avenue to find information. So I will leave a link to this article as well. But the one thing that really stuck out, there's a couple of things that I'm going to pull here, but one thing that really stuck out to me from the beginning, we saw this with Noah Syndergaard, but Michael Lorenzen chose the Angels. So this is another case of an offseason signing in which the player chose the Angels. Now, I know that this has a little bit of a caveat because Michael Lorenzen is from here, has ties to the area, and he goes on in the article to talk about how he wanted to be close to home and start a family here with with his wife and stuff. But Michael Lorenzen, again, in here, it says that he had longer offers on the table, so more than 1-year deals. And Lorenzen said, no, I want to be a starter and I want to go to Anaheim. So let's go to that first part there, the starter point. That's something that came out like right away when the news dropped by Robert Murray, a baseball writer and an old friend of mine, actually. He put out the article, or he put out the news, and then, of course, immediately said he's going to be in the rotation. So that's something that we learned right away, and this is a little bit furthering of that. I'm going to go ahead and take a direct quote here from Sam Blum's article. If and when spring training begins in 2022, Lorenzen will not come in needing to earn a rotation spot. He confirmed his spot is, quote, locked in. Lorenzen hasn't been a full-time starting pitcher since 2015, his rookie year, but he said has entered the offseason hoping to find a team that would allow him to start. It was one of his top priorities. I know what I wanted to do, and I know how my stuff plays, Lorenzen said, and I'm just smarter and more experienced. My stuff is my stuff. Whether I'm in the bullpen or the rotation, I feel like the stuff that I have now translates a lot better in the rotation. So, again, we knew that he was going to be a starter, but I thought, at least, I don't know, maybe this is my conjecture. It probably was. But it felt like, yes, it felt like he's going to get the opportunity to start, but it felt like he really has to prove himself now. But the words locked in, yes, not locked on, but locked in kind of implies a little bit more like this is his spot. And that's kind of a furthering of this development that I find kind of interesting. And it's cool for him. Again, I've talked about it before. We briefly talked about Michael Lorenzen when the signing happened last week. But it's interesting to me because, I got to see him relieve in college because we went to the same school at the same time. And, he was a great closer. He was an incredible closer. So for him to get a full opportunity again since 2015 to start is really intriguing. And I'm very excited for him. He's a guy, everything that I've ever seen him do, he always seems to really have a chip on his shoulder, and he's ready to just go after it and prove everybody wrong, which is just such a cool mentality. And I'm so excited to see that out of him. There's another part of this article I wanted to pull as well. And it's about him hitting, which is something that we know that he has been a two-way player. Again, I saw him at Fullerton. He used to start in center field. He would bat in the middle of the lineup, and then he would close the game out in the ninth. So this is what he had to say about hitting, which is really interesting as well. Quote, of course, I would like to hit, Lorenzen said. I'm never going to come in and demand anything, but if it's something that the team sees that I can help the team with, win some ball games, then of course, I'll be ready to hit. So that's that's some stuff right there, man. I think that's pretty cool that we knew that he had the ability to do it, and he's been able to do it, and, he's probably the second most accomplished, besides Shohei, of course, but for the Angels to have two-way guys is really, really cool, and the fact that Lorenzen is still like, yeah, I want to hit, let's do this. I'm really about that. Let's go ahead and move on a little bit further to this, one more quote here. So I'm not going to limit myself at all, Lorenzen said. I think once I get into the season, I get the tissue nice and conditioned to withstand the workload. I take care of everything else off the field when it comes to nutrition, sleep, and hydration. I kind of joked about this over on Twitter when the signing happened, but this dude is absolutely ripped. Like, Michael Lorenzen is a big guy, and he takes care of his body very, very well. So, he's coming off injuries. He's had injuries in the past. But maybe, with Shohei being as good as he was this year, I got to imagine that was a big turning point for maybe a lot of free agents and a lot of guys that are thinking about coming to Anaheim. They saw how well it worked out for Shohei. That's what we know. Noah Syndergaard is excited about rehabbing and getting things back in full force. So that's really cool. And that's really big. And I'm glad to see Michael Lorenzen's thinking the same way. And I trust him. Straight up, I trust this guy. Is he going to be the end-all, be-all ace that we're waiting for? Probably not, but I think you need to taper your expectations here. This is a guy that's working to get back into the starting role. But I think even if he is league average or even slightly above, I think it's a win. A 1-year deal for a guy who's looking to get back. And then, of course, he's from here. So he's going to have that extra incentive. I mean, he's working out at Chapman. He's super, super close. He was born in Anaheim. He went to Fullerton. He went to Fullerton Union High. That's down the street. Like, he is an Anaheim Fullerton kid through and through. So I'm very excited to see what Michael Lorenzen brings. I want to hear your opinions, however. Let me know how you feel about this in our comment section here on YouTube, of course, at Locked On Angels. I know there's some pause in the Angels fan base right now about this guy, but I'm telling you, I'm very excited about him. Just one, it's just a great story. If you haven't heard about Michael Lorenzen's story, I highly encourage you to look it up. He's a great dude, and I'm just very excited to see what he brings to the table in 2022 and beyond. This holiday season, grab the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar or even better than a candy bar. Built Bar is filled with so much holiday goodness, rich with decadent flavor and covered in chocolate, but amazingly low in calories, sugar, net carbs, and fat. And of course, it's high in protein. You get the best of both worlds. Delicious, healthy. And of course, there's a bunch of different flavors. You could choose raspberry, mint brownie, cherry, double chocolate, cookies and cream, peanut butter brownie. There's a bunch of them. And of course, there even is those new ones, those Built Bar Puffs. They're light, fluffy, marshmallowy, and there's a bunch of different flavors. They're really, really great. You got to check them out. Built Bar gives you that extra fuel you need to bust down those mall doors and battle all the holiday shoppers. Or of course, if you're just standing in line, make sure you got one in your purse or in your pocket. That way, you never know. I'm just going to pop a Built Bar. Tell Santa, of course, to throw a couple Built Bars in your stocking. That'd make anyone's Christmas morning a happy one. And I have a promo code for you, LOCKED15, to get 15% off your order at Built.com. That's, again, go to Built.com, promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. Thanks, Built Bar. And, of course, this episode is also brought to you by Stance. Okay, the first couple of times I heard about Stance, right? Or I saw the logo, I saw guys wearing it. I'm like, okay, these are just socks. Like, what are these things? Stance apparel is legit, and I cannot stress that enough. I actually wear these socks. I've worn them in the past. I love these socks. They're so soft, so comfortable, and it's just unlike anything else. And it's so weird to talk about that way about a sock, right? But they've been doing it since 2009. They're a radical reinvention of socks, underwear, and active apparel. They got more than socks. With a sharp focus on comfort, quality, creativity, Stance brings an atypical aesthetic alongside some of pop culture's hottest collaborators with the ultimate in style and self-expression, because everything you wear should be a direct extension of who you are and how you feel. Stance believes that the perfect fit it matters more than fitting in, that those who feel good do good. Go see for yourself. Register for an account at stance.com and get 15% off your first purchase. We got you promo codes right here. Locked on at checkout to apply. That's stance.com, 15% off with the promo code Locked On. Enjoy the color and comfort of a life less ordinary with Stance.
We're here with Steve Granado of Locked On Angels. We're trying to save the game of baseball. This is what happens when two guys are trying to figure out what to do in a podcast with us, a lockout. We're in the bargaining table. Hey, well, I did promise to talk about this for a second. The Angels seem to be hell-bent to win the 2015 World Series. Before they wanted to win the 2011
Why you gotta do this
World
to me every time?
All right, okay, but like their big acquisition was Syndergaard.
Yeah.
And let me put it this way. Maybe I'll change it a little bit. Epler went to the Mets, and the Mets have gone to the Angels. Like Aaron Loop and Syndergaard are coming over.
Not Stroman, though.
And not Stroman, no. By the way, I have to admit, I was really surprised that Stroman didn't go back to the Mets. I thought he was going to head back there. I'm very surprised he went to the Cubs, a rebuilding team. But
only ballpark he's never pitched in.
Yeah, there you go. Well, guess what? He'll pitch in at least once. What are your thoughts on Syndergaard, who obviously when he's healthy, he's an outstanding pitcher. That when healthy part is the trick. And Aaron Loop, by the way, Met fans I know were more upset that Aaron Loop was gone than Noah Syndergaard, because Loop had a terrific year with the Mets last year and would have been a huge factor in the bullpen for the Angels. So what are your thoughts of what the Angels did, with the door coming down with the lockout coming about?
Yeah, I'm stoked about Thor, man. I am very high on him. I probably wouldn't be as high on him had 2021 not happened the way it happened for Shohei Ohtani.
Right.
And the Angels have made some front office changes and are starting to work with – they hired a guy who is a former Driveline employee. So I'm very excited about that prospect, about how it could really help Noah Syndergaard moving forward. So I am very amped about that. The six-man rotation is going to help him out a lot. He's going to get a couple extra days of rest. He doesn't have to be trusted for 200 innings. He would never get there anyway because of, that's just not going to happen for him. But for him to have to throw 130, okay, now we're talking. And if those are Cy Young level 130 innings, then the Angels just got a hell of a lot better.
Or even just good. I mean,
yeah,
even if he's
just good.
Obviously you want him to be a Cy Young contender, and he has been a Cy Young contender in the past. He's been a wonderful pitcher for the Mets. But even if you're just getting a good, solid pitcher,
yeah,
I mean,
even if you're getting just an all-star,
yeah, I mean, right there, you pile enough of those up, that will lead somewhere. I mean, we do, as we've said before. You and I have talked about this. That we believe that the A's are going to start the rebuilding process. The writing's on the wall, especially when Bob Melvin left. Now the Rangers are the interesting one, because when we last left, when you and I last talked, the Rangers hadn't gone on that Brewster's Millions supermarket sweep signings of every, Seager and Semien, and they were just grabbing all these players for a team that lost 100 games last year to, if they improve by 10 games, they're still a 90-loss team. I mean, it's always weird when a team goes on a wild spending spree when they stink. It happened I remember after the 2014 season, the Padres decided we're going to be good this year. And they traded for a bunch of players and everything, and it was a mess. They weren't ready to contend yet. And I can't help but wonder, and they didn't cost many prospects, of course, but I can't help but wonder if that's a little bit what's going on here. And the only reason I bring them up is the Angels have to leapfrog a few teams if they want to finally deliver a title for Mr. Trout. And the teams in their way would be the Angels, the Mariners, Houston, and Texas. I think Houston is still going to be good. The Mariners, I think, are going to be very good. The Angels are going to be rebuilding, and I don't know what the Rangers are going to be. What are your concerns about the AL West, assuming we have a full season in 2022?
Well, first off, the Texas Rangers are the 2024 AL West champions. I'm just letting you know right now, with Al Leiter and Cole Winn being the 1-2 punch in Arlington, be ready. That is going to be a ridiculous combo. I've seen Cole Winn pitch when he was 18 years old here in California. He is coming. So I am not looking forward to Al Leiter and Cole Winn games 1 and 2 of the ALDS. So not looking forward to that. 2022, very concerned with the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah.
Very worried about the Seattle Mariners. The Angels stuck it to them at the end of the year and stopped their pursuit of the postseason. Jared Walsh, thank you very much. Shohei Ohtani, thank you very much. But those are, you always have to worry about Houston now. It doesn't matter. You always have to worry about Houston. Obviously not concerned with Oakland at this point, but Seattle is definitely the team to be worried about, and that's what keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by BetOnline. They got you covered all season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football season continues the march to the playoffs. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the sports action this season. Head to our new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. Basketball, football, NHL, boxing, UFC, Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. Bet online, where the game starts.
Do you think the Angels have a shot?
They got to get one more, man. They got to get one more. They got to get another starter.
Yeah.
They need another starter, man. They just straight up need another one.
Well, let me ask you, because it seemed like they were kicking the tires on a bunch of the pitchers in Cincinnati, whether it was Luis Castillo or Sonny Gray. I thought Castillo would be a fantastic fit in Anaheim. And
the only thing is I'm worried about is losing Adele or Marsh. That's the biggest talk of the town. The Angels don't want to lose Joe Adele. They don't want to lose Brandon Marsh, and I am right there with them. And that's what the Castillo trade's gonna garner.
Okay, I'm going to go right back to this. You and I may have talked about this already, so if I'm repeating myself, I know you're going to get out of here in just a second. I'm reminded of the trade that the Rays and the Royals made, where they dealt away Will Myers. You don't want to trade away Will Myers, man. You don't want to trade away Will Myers. He's going to be the star, but you know what you're getting in James Shields. And they also threw in, they also threw in Wade Davis, who just kind of sort of became a relief star for them when they won the World Series. But by getting that pitching depth, that's what helped turn that team around. Yeah, it cost them Will Myers, who turned out to be a good player. But do you know what? You know what you're getting pitching-wise out of Castillo, and you can get an outfielder. I'm sorry. It's easier to fill in the hole of an outfielder. You can grab a Soler. You can grab like what the freaking Braves did, and picked up an NLCS and a World Series MVP for their troubles, than it is to get a pitcher of Castillo's quality. I'm sorry. The Angels need a starting pitcher more than they need Adele.
Trust me, I know. I watched this team. I know the Angels need pitching. But
I just sully-splained you. I sully-splained you the Angels.
But 2022 might not be the year. That's the problem. And I've talked about this a lot on Locked On Angels on YouTube. But I talk about this a lot. Competitive windows are massive, and they have to be. Just look at the Dodgers. Look how damn good they've been for years. One World Series win. So you need to get there as many times as possible. 2022 can't be the only year you're going for it. And I know Castillo's got a couple of years of control. But again, here come the Rangers. And it's just going to get tougher. The Rangers are getting better. The Mariners are getting better. The AL West is now set to be one of the hardest divisions in baseball.
Yeah.
You got to face them 70-plus times. And you are going to need the depth, because right now, if the Angels have to lose Adele/Marsh as an and to get Castillo, the Angels don't have a right fielder, and their system does not have enough strength and depth yet. They're not quite there yet. Their young outfielders aren't quite there yet. They need 2 more years. So it's not like you can just call up a Wander Franco and, okay, he's in right field. Because right now, if Adele and Marsh leave or somebody gets hurt, the Angels are screwed. They're just screwed. They have no depth in the outfield right now that is ready for the majors, because right now, your outfield, starting outfield opening day, is likely Justin Upton in left, Trout in center, and Marsh/Adele in right. If one of those guys gets down and one of them's traded, who's playing right? Who's playing right field? So it's tough right now. If the Angels had a little more depth at the AAA level in the outfield, then I'd be like, okay, maybe there's something there. But Jeremiah Jackson's just not ready, and they got some guys that are just like fringe. They're just not quite ready yet. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us in today's episode of Locked On Angels. Have a great weekend. I want to thank you for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. For your second listen, check out Locked On Bets, your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling needs. Locked On Bets, hosted by your boy Q, with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. Call our voicemail line, guys, 714-409-6396. We're taking your questions for Monday's mailbag. Have a great weekend. Happy holidays to all, and we'll talk to you guys here in a couple of days. I'm Steve Granado. Later.